So let's talk about something that on the surface looks like really, really dull paperwork. But what's actually going on here is a huge cultural signal for the entire crypto industry. I mean, we're talking about a fundamental shift in power. And that is exactly what just happened. You know, this one set of decisions from a single government agency just sent these massive shockwaves across the market. And it tells a fascinating story about who's winning and, well, what the future of crypto in the mainstream is actually going to look like. That's right. The OCC, which is, let's be honest, basically the strictest, most serious regulator in the financial world, well, they suddenly gave their blessing to three major crypto firms, Circle, Ripple, and BitGo. It was like, you get a charter, and you get a charter, everybody gets a charter. Okay, so this is the thing you've got to get. This wasn't just some bureaucratic update. This was an invitation. It was a signal that crypto companies are no longer on the outside, banging on the doors of the traditional banking system. Nope, they're being welcomed inside and shown to their seats. And that, well, that changes everything.
First up, let's look at Circle. Their journey to this moment, you could really describe it as the ultimate long game. It's the story of the rule follower, the responsible one, finally getting their due.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly, right? While pretty much the rest of the industry was caught up in this absolute frenzy, chasing these insane yields and crazy returns, Circle was doing something completely different. They were chasing regulators. They were patiently, methodically building a foundation of trust. So, how'd they do it? Well, their whole playbook was about transparency and reliability. They built their stablecoin, USDC, on a foundation of actual cash-backed reserves. And they didn't just say they did it, no. They published the receipts, these attestations, to prove it. They were basically creating digital money that, wears a seatbelt. And that's really the key lesson here. Circle's strategy wasn't some last-minute pivot because they saw which way the wind was blowing. Nope, this was their vision from day one. They just kind of outlasted all the hype and all the chaos until the regulatory world finally caught up to where they'd been waiting the whole time. All right, so that's Circle. Now for our next story, which is a totally different vibe. We're talking about Ripple. And their story is a true redemption arc, a tale of just stubborn, patient persistence through years and years of noise and controversy. I mean, just look at this timeline. Ripple was founded way, way back in 2012 with this super clear mission. But for years, that mission was just drowned out by lawsuits and an absolute storm of internet memes and opinions. And yet, they just took the hits, they weathered it all, and now that original vision has been validated. And this right here captures their unwavering focus. While the rest of the market was constantly distracted by the next shiny object, Ripple's core message never, ever changed. They were building a tool for banks, not something to replace them. Their whole goal was to make cross-border payments faster and cheaper inside the system we already have, not to tear it all down. So this, of course, brings up the big question, the one that's been debated online for what feels like forever. After all the memes, all the arguments, does this banking charter mean that Ripple finally won the culture war? Well, the answer is a little more nuanced and, honestly, a lot more powerful. No, they didn't win the online shouting matches. But see, they didn't have to. They were playing a completely different game. They're quietly winning the infrastructure war, which in the long run is probably way more important. And that brings us to our third and final company, BitGo. Now, they might be the least famous of the three, but their role as the institutional vault is, well, it's arguably one of the most critical pieces of this entire puzzle. So what does BitGo even do? They handle something called digital asset custody. The best way to think about it is, it's the unglamorous but absolutely essential plumbing of the crypto world. It's not the flashy stuff you see on billboards, it's the super secure vault in the basement that makes big institutions feel safe enough to even get in the game. So what are they selling, really? Well, it breaks down into three simple things. First, secure storage, so you don't have catastrophic hacks or lost keys. Second, they help big money navigate the crazy maze of regulations. And third, they provide all the operational plumbing to just make it all work smoothly. This is the stuff that lets a board of directors actually sleep at night. And getting this charter could not have come at a better time. BitGo is planning to go public, and these are the magic words that traditional investors absolutely love to hear. Regulated, custodian. These phrases are basically a big stamp of approval from the grown-ups in the room, which makes BitGo a much, much easier sell on Wall Street. So really, the crucial thing to understand about BitGo is this. They took that deep institutional fear, the fear of getting hacked or breaking some obscure rule, a kind of healthy paranoia, and they built an entire business around solving it. And now the OCC has officially co-signed their whole business model. It's brilliant.
Okay, so we've looked at 3 very different companies that all got a golden ticket on the same day. Let's pull it all together and figure out what this one major signal truly means for the whole industry.
Here's how it all breaks down. You've got Circle, the responsible adult, who just made stablecoins so reliable they're almost boring. Then you have Ripple, the patient defender, making a long, stubborn wait look like a genius move. And finally, BitGo, the silent professional, just quietly making institutional-grade custody the new standard.
And that right there is the big takeaway from all of this. There isn't just one single path for crypto to go mainstream anymore. What we're seeing now are multiple proven playbooks for how to bridge that gap between this new tech and the traditional financial world. The industry is, well, it's growing up.
Which leaves us with one last really fascinating question to think about. For years, crypto was the ultimate outsider, trying to disrupt the system from the outside. But now that it's finally been invited in, now that it has a seat at the table, what happens next? Is crypto going to fundamentally change banking? Or is the institution of banking going to ultimately change crypto? Only time will tell.